Alrighty, so we've got a special daily today. The new campaigns have just released for the Dominion app. Now there are campaigns you can play through, and one of the appeals is that there are special rules, twists, and tweaks that you wouldn't normally see in a Dominion Kingdom. I think a lot of them are stuff that wouldn't be practical with paper cards out in the wild and are only viable on the online client. And as a byproduct of that, I think from here on out, all Sunday dailies, so once a week, the daily is going to include some of those additional tweaks from the campaigns. So here we see campaign features. Good harvest has also respect. No idea what that means. Hopefully we'll find out. And include delayed joy. Can I see what these do? Maybe here. Okay, there we go. Delayed joy. So in this kingdom, all boons can be saved for the next turn. That sounds lovely. So there's a bunch of cards. The fate cards are cards that give boons. In this kingdom, I think the only one is Fool. So you get 3 boons. Boons are just some random benefit. And I'm not a big fan of the boons mechanic in general. And I think one of the big problems is it's random and they are non-optional. Like you play a Fool, you resolve all 3 of the boons. Fortunately, like Flame's Gift and Sky's Gift are optional. But like Mountain's Gift often feels like Mountain's Hex. Like you accidentally get it, and then you're forced to gain a silver whether you want it or not. Particularly annoying with Fool, where you're already gaining more silver than you want off of Lucky Coin. Or Wind's Hex can be kind of nasty. There's a lot of boons that you naturally play at the end of your turn, like Idol or Sacred Grove. If you've drawn your deck and then randomly get hit with Wind's Gift, it effectively just reads discard 2 cards because there's no cards to draw, and that's kind of annoying when it happens involuntarily. And this little tweak, I think they're called stamps. It looks like a stamp at least. This stamp doesn't fully resolve the it doesn't help solve the Mountain's Hex problem that well, but it definitely makes some of the scenarios like Wind's Hex a lot less bad. You get Wind's Gift at the end of the turn. You just save it for next turn, and start of turn is a great time to get Wind's Gift. So this seems like a pretty big quality of life improvement. Also, probably a pretty big improvement to the quality of, or to the strength of some of these cards. Like Fool, you're getting 3 boons. They're not all necessarily useful at the moment. There's probably a decent number that you'd rather save till next turn. Like you'd rather draw a card off of Sea's Gift at the start of next turn than terminally at the end of your turn. So I think that makes Fool look a lot better. I don't know if that means Fool's going to be gained here, but I do like that. So we've got also respect. When this prophecy occurs, each player gets plus VP equal to their current VP. So I'm reading that as like all victory points, not just victory points tokens, so like inclusive of provinces, estates, etc. And yeah, that would be one of those things, like I was saying, where you can only do it on the online client. Like in a real game, you don't have any sense of how many points you have at any given time. You need a client that can track that for you to double it. So what does that do to the kingdom? I think the answer is not much. What are the omens here? Tea House or Poet. Both of these are omen cards. Once you played an omen card 5 times, on the 5th sun, the Good Harvest activates for both players. I could see Tea House being slow enough for it to maybe matter, but Poet's generally a card that activates the prophecies pretty quickly. I think, in general, I think prophecies tend to activate kind of fast. There's a lot of trashers like River Shrine and Mountain Shrine, where you're opening them immediately and playing them pretty quickly. Or Kitsune, where you're getting it quickly and giving out curses. And then the prophecy activates soon-ish, like well before you'd want to start scoring points. And then also respect is just like doubling your 3 estate VP or something that doesn't matter. It also seems kind of awkward in that like the deck that would want to double its points is a deck that's scoring earlier than the opponent, so like big money. But a big money deck doesn't have the deck control to easily activate a prophecy whenever it wants to. Whereas an engine that could add any arbitrary card and play it 5 times and activate the prophecy voluntarily is going to be behind on points until the last turn and doesn't want to double points. I don't know. The also respect thing is not seeming like it's that impactful to me. I don't think that's going to matter. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. What else is happening? Well, I see something happening, but let's look at the rest of the kingdom real fast. Draw, we got Royal Galley, Mapmaker, Advisor, Poet, plenty of draw. Royal Galley and Plaza are the villages. Raise is trashing. kind of bishop, but not really because it trashes for the opponent too. No plus buy. Just kidding. There's 2 plus buy. Seaway is plus buy, and Seaway is pretty good here, given there's like a million good targets for it. And then Good Harvest, if it activates, would turn all your treasures into plus buy. And there's also Weaver for gains. So the thing that's jumping out to me is Weaver plus Mapmaker. I think is a pretty strong synergy. Weaver gains cards costing up to 4. Notably, both these cards cost 4 or less. Weaver also activates when it's discarded. And Mapmaker draws 2 cards and discards 2 cards. So you can play your Mapmaker, see, like let's say you see 2 Weavers and 2 non-Weavers, you put the not Weavers into your hand, and then you can play the Weavers as a result of discarding them. And the Weavers, one other card they can gain is Estate. You gain an Estate, that triggers the Mapmakers, which you can play for free whenever you gain a victory card. So the Weavers play the Mapmakers, would play the Weavers, would play the Mapmakers. You can gain additional Weavers as that's happening, and then, that just, I think, spins out of control pretty fast. Also, worth noting, the way that the reactions work in Dominion is it's like a window of time, essentially. Like if you gain an Estate off of Weaver with 1 Mapmaker in hand, you react to that Mapmaker, you draw an additional Mapmaker. You are still in that window of just gained an Estate, and you're resolving effects off of that. And that window hasn't closed yet. So you can then react with additional Mapmakers you drew to the original Estate gain, and then just cycle through your whole deck that way off of a single Estate gain. So I think that looks really strong. It's also kind of monolithic, I think. Like imagine you're kicking off your turn with like 1 Weaver and 1 Mapmaker in hand, play Weaver, gain Estate, trigger Mapmaker, draw additional Mapmakers, discard additional Weavers. All that's happening in your action phase, but you're out of actions for the whole turn because you spent your 1 action playing the Weaver, and then all of the other actions you're playing are off of the reaction effects. So if you drew additional Poets and Galleys and stuff, you wouldn't be able to play them. So I think it doesn't play very nicely with other stuff, and you kind of got to commit to it. It's not entirely true. Like you could set up a Royal Galley to kick it off at the start of the turn, and then still have actions left maybe. But I think it makes most sense, I think, to just have your deck chock full of these and nothing else. So it would be an argument against playing with basically anything else in the kingdom. I think the argument for playing with more of the kingdom, like build a bigger engine, you can eventually take advantage of bishop points. It's theoretically a lot of victory points to gain later in the games. Play 4 or 5 bishops, trash a ton of stuff, eventually outrace provinces rather than trying to catch up. Now, that just seems clearly worse to me. I think the threat from the Weaver Mapmaker deck is not emptying provinces too quickly. It's 3-piling on Weaver Mapmaker Estate. I think that's going to happen way too fast for a bishop deck to catch up. So yeah, I think this kingdom is just about the Weaver and the Mapmaker. Basically nothing else. Seaway, I think, could still be good. You could see either of those 2 and it'll work just fine. Innovation also seems pretty good for this thing because it triggers off of your Weavers. I think, see 2 viable openings. I think Weaver raise makes sense. You want to kill a few estates and get a little bit thinner so it's more consistent. You can pop the raise later, and raise can also activate Weavers because it discards cards. Or I think the other option would be Mapmaker raise. You do have a lucky coin, so you could open with a free silver on top of that. I think if you open Weaver raise, you don't take the silver. But you take Mapmaker raise, gain the silver. That I think has a decent chance of hitting 6. And if you hit 6, you buy Innovation, you buy Weaver next, and then you're playing your Weaver at about the same time your opponent would be, but you're playing it for free off of the Innovation effect and catching up, and now you've got Innovation to show for it, which is pretty strong. I think the downside of if that hits, if you do Mapmaker raise silver, hit Innovation, and go from there, that seems clearly better. The downside is if you whiff, you don't hit 6, then you're just doing the same stuff but a little bit slower. I think I'm going to go for the Mapmaker line, but I could also see this opening Weaver raise, no silver. This looks like it's going to get to 6. Question is what to do with the raise. I definitely can't trash the copper, because it guarantees I don't hit 6. I could just leave it in hand, or I could pop it. I think I'd rather just hold on to it. The odds that I fail to hit 6 here were very low. I have to see all 3 estates in my top 4 cards, which is not likely to happen. So this is basically the good line. I hit 6 turn 3. Now I hit 4 turn 4. I'm playing a Weaver by turn 4, which is exactly as fast as would have happened if I had just opened Weaver directly. Like, I got 6, might as well Seaway it. Let's gain ourselves another map maker. Do I want more silvers? I think the answer is no. I kind of forgot about innovation, if I'm being honest. So I could buy map maker, innovate it, and then if I draw into weavers, I can activate them off of the map maker. I could also just buy weaver and activate it directly, which I think I would prefer to do because I've got good cards down there. I'd rather just leave down there. I'm gonna do it this way. Oh, I totally forgot. I played a weaver, so I got plus buyback. I could have bought a free raise there. I didn't notice until the very end of the turn. A little bit too late. All right, here we're gonna do the thing. I have half a mind to innovate something non-terminal so I can play this raise. Like here we're in that scenario I was describing where I've kicked off my turn playing the map maker, so I can chain through all these blue cards here, but I won't be able to play the raise naturally. So if I gain Royal Galley and innovate the Royal Galley, I can play the raise and then continue on with my turn, which I think is worth it. The bot has tea houses, which frankly seems kind of terrible to me. I do not see the appeal of tea house here at all. That's not tea house. Is he trying to do something with Good Harvest, maybe? Like he's going to buy a province this turn and then activate Good Harvest next turn or something? I don't think there's anything there. I don't believe it. That was a little bit sad. I was really hoping to reveal any number of weavers, but no. That was probably the wrong order to do this in, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm in the middle of resolving a bunch of estates. Do I have more? I think I'd rather gain a weaver. Activate that. Do I want a free raise? Probably not. It kind of gets in the way of the rest of this stuff. But can I interest you in a victory card? Do I want to trash my estate? Probably not at this stage. This game's almost over, right? I think it's a little bit late for that to matter. I kind of wish if the bot were to get a victory card, it's worth noting. Like I could play through my entire deck on the bot's turn, and then do it again on my turn, and just essentially take a free extra turn as the bot is playing. Because all I need to kick off the whole turn is for a victory card to be gained, alas, the bot did not cooperate. All right, let's just go ahead and do the little innovate Royal Galley thing again. Or let's just keep drawing for the moment and not innovate yet. I'll have an opportunity in the future, I'm sure. Okay, now let me think about this. I want to innovate something non-terminal so I can play the Royal Galley and the raise. Poet, Royal Galley, Plaza, Advisor, raise. I'm going to take a Poet. No. I'm thinking about this tea house business, but like the bot, there's no way the bot buys a province first, then plays the tea house next. It takes at least 2 turns. I don't think there's a threat there. I don't think this tea house thing is a real thing. The reason to gain Poet would just be to preemptively trigger Good Harvest on the bot. I'm just not seeing it. I don't think the bot has built a real deck. I'm just going to take another Royal Galley. Innovate that. Uh, yeah, the bot actually isn't getting another turn, is it? This game's already over. There we go. Yeah, Tea House is way too slow. I don't think this is the thing. These cards very strong. I'm sad I didn't get to gain a Fool. I thought about it briefly there for a moment when I was considering what to innovate. I actually could see is once you get innovation, potentially gaining and playing a Fool, because like there's a decent number of boons that might benefit this deck. Wind's Gift discarding Weavers is nice. Sky's Gift could discard Weavers. Sun's Gift could discard Weavers. Moon's Gift could help you top deck the right stuff. Earth's Gift gains you 4-cost cards. I think a good number of the boons are worthwhile. So I wish there was a chance to fit in the Fool. I would have liked to try out the new Delayed Joy thing, which looked pleasant and just turned out to be not quite fast enough for an 8-turn game. I don't think Also Respect mattered. I don't think Tea House was any good. I think the bot had long-term plans for a kingdom that was going to be very short-term.